What's the oldest source you have telling you the moon split? The written source.
I don't know. I just saw some
I will
Muslim
tell you where
source.
you get it from. The first person that we have whose writing survives. If there were others, we don't have their writings. Ibn Ishaq would mention the moon split, but there's a problem. The Sirah of Ibn Ishaq, Sirat Rasulullah, we don't have many copies of it. What we have is Ibn Hisham. Ibn Hisham, now, Ibn Ishaq wrote around 750 AD, if that dating is right. See, this is all assuming the later Muslim sources, your sources that were written 200 years after when Muhammad supposedly died, they're accurate. So let's assume they're accurate. Supposedly, Ibn Ishaq wrote his Sirah, his biography of Muhammad, around 750 AD. But then, in the 9th century, around 830 AD, notice this is supposedly 200 years after your prophet died, Ibn Hisham took Ibn Ishaq's Sirah and he edited it. He removed stuff he didn't like. He removed stuff that made Muhammad look bad, and he removed what he thought was weak stuff. So the oldest source we have is nearly 200 years after your prophet died, that the moon was split during the time of your prophet in Mecca. So now, what source do you have? Because supposedly Muhammad claimed to be a prophet around the year 610 AD, and he remained in Mecca for 13 years. So we go 610, 623. What written source do you have from around that time, okay, that says the moon was split?
I thought that there was one Muslims who have been showing it left, right, and center.
Yeah, you got it. So you're basing your entire life, your life and afterlife, akhirah, on sources that are so unreliable, full of contradictions, and written hundreds of years after your prophet supposedly lived. And you're willing to gamble your life? If you die today, my friend, right now, you die today. You're basing your akhirah, the afterlife, on these sources that are so embarrassing. You're embarrassed. You even said you read stuff you wish it wasn't there. And you don't know. You may die today. I may die today. It's not a joke.
Then how do Muslims explain the moon verse?
What moon verse? That moon verse is a sign. What sign? Is it the sign of what Muhammad did or a sign of the end? Finish the entire chapter, man.
Oh, so it's a sign of the end?
That's what many Muslim scholars say. I don't believe anything in the Quran, so it doesn't matter to me. But how do you know chapter 54:1 is not about the splitting of the moon? How do you know that some Muslims saw that ayah and created a miracle to go with that ayah?
Yeah, because there are hadiths. That's why I think people say.
I know. The hadiths were written when? In the time of Muhammad? So let me ask you the question again. The hadith that says that he split the moon with his finger like a sword. He did his finger. Shit, man, that's one powerful finger. Same finger where water came out of from his fingers. Okay, let's go that hadith. How do you know those hadiths that were written to say Muhammad split the moon were not made up to explain chapter 54 verse 1? In other words, they saw in 54 verse 1 it says the moon was split, so they made up a story to make it like Muhammad split it. How do you know? What proof do you have that's not a made up story?
Yeah, if I had any historical proof, then it would have been much stronger.
That's what I'm trying to say. How come the world at that time, we don't have any catalog of the moon splitting at that time? Well, according to Farida, because a lot of people were sleeping.
That's what he said?
Yeah. In one of the video responses to Apostate Prophet, when Apostate Prophet was making fun of the moon split, his response is, well, come on. At that time was night. How many people you think would still be awake?
Why? Like, did you try to talk with him to talk?
He won't debate. He says he doesn't debate us. Just like Ibn Slab won't debate online. But forget him now. Can you stop with the prophecies? They prove nothing but that your prophet is a false prophet. Because
no,
even
but Allah said, I am Wahid, you know.
Okay, what does Wahid mean? What is Wahid? He's one what?
One means everything one, that's it.
So you mean he only has one attribute? He doesn't have multiple attributes? Sifat?
No, not about attributes.
You just said one means everything's one. So what does one mean? You just contradict yourself. If everything's one, that means he only has one name, one attribute.
He is one in essence and he is one in person.
Show me where it says one in person. Where does the Quran say he's one in person?
When he speaks, he does not have like different persons.
You sure? He speaks of himself in the third person we, and then he speaks of himself as I, then he speaks of himself in he. In the same verse, he goes from one pronoun to another. He's confused here. Can I show you?
Sometimes he wants to be majestic.
Okay, so you're saying that being plural is more majestic than being singular. Good job.
Like we, you know.
Okay, but notice what you said. He speaks in the plural because he wants to be majestic. So you just admit plural is more majestic and greater than singular. Okay, now let's go back with this chapter 17, verse 1. Here's where I want to confuse, because Allah is all over the place. It says, glory be to him, glorified be he, who took his servant by night from Masjid al-Haram, the inviolable mosque, to Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque, whose precincts we blessed, so we might show him some of our signs. So who's speaking and saying, glory be to him, glorified be he?
Of course, Allah is speaking.
Allah is speaking about himself. So Allah is saying to himself, glory be to him, who's me, who took his servant, who's my servant, so that we might show him some of our signs. So Allah is praising himself?
Yeah.
And he's worshiping himself?
He's praising himself.
Yeah, and that's worship. When I say subhanallah, that's worship, right? Ibadah, right?
Yes.
So Allah just did ibadah. Allah just did ibadah. He worshipped himself because he said to himself, glory be to him. That's ibadah. That's worship. So Allah's worshiping himself. Is that what you just told us?
Look, I am not as intelligent as you. You are going to get me stuck.
No, I'm not getting you stuck. Allah's getting you stuck. Muhammad's getting you stuck because you won't leave this false religion. Jesus will never get you stuck. Jesus will save you from being stuck because he loves you.